nobody respects you. You notice it even if you don't want to admit it. It's not that they openly despise you. It's not that they blatantly ignore you. It's worse. They tolerate you. They smile at you out of politeness. They listen to you out of obligation. And you, like many, confuse this with respect. But deep down, you know, if you disappeared tomorrow, the world would continue without pause, without impact. And do you know why? Because you never set a limit. You were never predictable. You were never in authority. You are flexible. And in this world, the flexible bend until they break. The truth is brutal. Respect is not begged for. It is imposed. Not with screams, not with violence, but with presence, with firmness, with a cold, calculated strategy that even Machiavelli would have envied. Respect does not stem from kindness nor from affection. It arises from well-managed fear, from consistency in your decisions, from the brutal clarity of your limits. But here's the problem. Most people have limits as blurry as their identity. They contradict themselves. They justify themselves. They bend. And then they cry because no one takes them seriously. I'm going to tell you, without anesthesia, if people don't respect you, it's because they are not afraid to fail you. And if they are not afraid to fail you, it's because you never made clear what happens when they do. You are one of those who forgives without consequences. One of those who gives second, third, fourth chances until your generosity seems like a joke. Machiavelli made it clear. Those who wish to be loved and feared at the same time tend to end up being despised. Why? Because they try to please while imposing, and that does not work. Respect arises from one thing: predictable punishment, not cruelty, not rage, certainty. People must know without a doubt that crossing you will cost them, not because you're emotional, but because it's policy. Real authority starts with one rule. You break my trust, you lose my trust. No debates, no second chances, just consequences. That is how respect is born, not from begging, from enforcement. So ask yourself, what happens when someone disrespects you? If the answer is nothing, then you already know why nobody takes you seriously. The choice is yours. Continue being flexible and watch as the world walks over you. Or draw the line and make sure nobody dares cross it twice. Your physical presence serves as the first line of defense against disrespect. Before uttering a single word, your posture, gaze, and movement patterns broadcast signals that others subconsciously interpret. Military commanders and elite athletes cultivate this silent language of dominance. Shoulders squared, spine erect, movements precise and economical. The eyes particularly reveal inner strength. Steady, relaxed eye contact communicates unshakable confidence, while darting glances betray anxiety. When entering any space, your body should declare your sovereignty before negotiations even begin. Machiavelli's controversial assertion about fear versus love stems from observable human behavior, not cynical manipulation. Emotional bonds prove unreliable when interests diverge. whereas the memory of consequences maintains order indefinitely. This explains why justice systems prioritize deterrence over rehabilitation. The certainty of punishment prevents more transgressions than appeals to goodwill. In personal interactions, this translates to establishing clear boundaries with unmistakable, though not cruel, enforcement. The key lies in consistency. Sporadic reactions create confusion, while predictable consequences build respect. Strategic silence functions as a psychological lever in power dynamics. Most people rush to fill conversational voids with nervous chatter, concessions, or unnecessary explanations, all of which diminish perceived authority. By mastering comfortable silence, you force others to sit with social discomfort, often prompting them to backtrack or reveal strategic information. Ancient samurai philosophy termed this musan, the state of mental clarity undisturbed by unnecessary thought or speech. In practice, this means listening more than speaking, answering questions with measured pauses, and never justifying yourself to undeserving challengers. Reputation operates as an invisible shield against disrespect. Like a city's defensive walls, your social standing either deters attacks or invites them. Once established, a reputation for zero tolerance toward disrespect requires minimal maintenance. People self-regulate based on second-hand accounts and observed interactions. This explains why certain individuals command effortless respect despite average appearance or soft-spoken manner. Their history of decisive boundary enforcement precedes them. Cultivating such a reputation demands initial vigilance, but yields long-term dividends in reducing confrontations. The consequences of failing to assert boundaries manifest across all life domains. Professionally, the overly accommodating employee becomes the department's dumping ground for undesirable tasks. Socially, the people pleaser finds their time and energy perpetually exploited. Even in romantic relationships, partners unconsciously lose attraction when they sense no defined personal boundaries. These patterns emerge not from malice, but from fundamental human nature. We value what resists us and devalue what yields too easily. Practical implementation begins with micro-adjustments in daily interactions. The next time someone interrupts you, instead of yielding the floor, maintain steady eye contact and continue speaking at your original volume and pace. When receiving backhanded compliments, respond with silent amusement rather than defensive explanations. In professional negotiations, practice making the other party speak first. After presenting terms, whoever breaks the silence first typically concedes more ground. These subtle power moves accumulate into significant perceptual shifts over time. True respect stems from self-respect first. No amount of external validation can compensate for internal uncertainty. This explains why some individuals from humble backgrounds command royal deference, while others with impressive credentials struggle for basic courtesy. The difference lies in their fundamental self-concept, not as arrogance, but as quiet certainty in their inherent worth. Cultivate this inner foundation through disciplined self-mastery, and the outer world will mirror this reality back to you. The transformation begins with a single realization. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Every interaction represents either an opportunity to reinforce your standards or erode them. Choose consciously. Act decisively. Respect both given and received, will cease being a request and become your natural state of being. The path demands courage, but rewards with something far more valuable than temporary approval: unshakable personal sovereignty. Respect isn't requested, it's assumed. You can feel its absence in the subtle cues, conversations that die when you enter rooms, plans made just outside your awareness, the polite smiles that never reach the eyes. This isn't about being disliked, it's about being irrelevant. The world shows people exactly what they can get away with, and right now yours is showing an optional presence. People treat you exactly how you've allowed them to treat you. Every overlooked comment you've swallowed, every backhanded compliment you've laughed off, every time you've made yourself smaller to avoid conflict. These weren't acts of kindness. They were surrender documents signed in invisible ink. The uncomfortable truth: you've been complicit in your own marginalization by confusing decency with weakness. True respect begins with an internal shift, the quiet realization that your attention, energy, and presence are valuable commodities, not because you declare them to be, but because you treat them as such. It's in how you hold eye contact a second longer than comfortable, how you allow silence to linger rather than rushing to fill it, how you stop qualifying your opinions with just or maybe. These are the unspoken signals that recalibrate how others perceive you. The moment you start acting like someone who won't be disrespected is the moment the world adjusts to meet you at that standard, not through confrontation or aggression, but through the subtle art of removal of attention, of availability, of investment. People understand absence more clearly than any argument. When you stop negotiating your worth, others stop debating it. This transformation demands uncomfortable moments. There will be tests. The offhand remark waiting for your reaction, the boundary probe disguised as humor, the requests that expect your compliance. These are the crucibles where respect is forged. Each time you respond with calm consistency, rather than desperate approval seeking, you rewrite the social contract. The price of respect is the loss of those who benefited from your lack of it. Let them go. What remains will be relationships built on genuine regard rather than convenience. You're not becoming someone new. You're finally revealing the person who was always there beneath the layers of accommodation. Stop waiting for permission to matter. The world doesn't grant respect. It reflects back the value you assign yourself. Carry yourself like someone who belongs in the room, and soon enough, the room will agree. Not because they've changed, but because you've shown them who you actually are. There comes a point when you realize the game was never worth playing. All those hours spent analyzing slights, rehearsing comebacks, seething over petty insults. What did they gain you? The hard truth is that respect obsession is just another form of validation seeking. The truly powerful don't wonder if they're respected. They're too busy building empires to notice who's bowing. Disrespect only stings when it comes from someone whose opinion you value. The solution isn't to make more people respect you, it's to care about fewer people's opinions. When a billionaire gets insulted by a homeless man, does he rage? No. The imbalance of power makes the insult irrelevant. That's your goal. to reach such heights that most disrespect doesn't even register. The masters of power understand this paradox. The less you need respect, the more you receive. Not because people fear you, but because your indifference radiates an unshakable confidence. Watch how people treat celebrities versus how they treat desperate fans. One group is chased. The other does the chasing. Your mission is to become the chased. This isn't about arrogance. It's about priorities. The man building a business doesn't have time to worry about neighborhood gossip. The woman mastering her craft isn't distracted by office politics. When you're consumed with meaningful pursuits, disrespect becomes background noise. Irritating perhaps, but ultimately unimportant. The final level of power isn't controlling how others see you. It's controlling how you see yourself. When your self-worth comes entirely from within, no external opinion can shake it. Compliments become pleasantries. Insults become curiosities. Your emotional equilibrium remains untouched by either. This is true freedom. Not the absence of disrespect, but the inability to be affected by it. The insults still come. They always will. But they pass through you, like wind through a screen door. You'll notice them, acknowledge them, and return to what matters without missing a beat. The journey ends where it began, with you. Not with changed people, but with a changed perspective. The world didn't transform, you did. And in that transformation, you'll find something better than respect, peace,